The Soviet people are the first who stood with us when we were fighting against colonialism.
What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a lovely evening out here. A very interesting situation. I just had to make a video and share with you as usual. Thank you very much for being part of this. Before we start, I would suggest that you know how it goes. If this is your first time, please feel free to join us, join the crew so we can make our voice bigger. Please subscribe, be part of the family. I see you, fellas, from America. I see you from the UK. I see you from South Africa. I see you from Kenya. Thank you very much, Nigeria, Namibia, Sudan, and all over. I appreciate you, Zimbabwe, very much. Tanzania, I see you. Thank you for being part of this family, and the Caribbeans as well. Okay, so Russia has organized a summit between Russia and Africa. For the past couple of years, a lot of people have been very standing against the Western movement because a lot of people in Africa feel like the Western countries are trying to impose themselves, get involved by force in situation in Africa. And many African leaders are not appreciating this at all. And Russia has capitalized on this opportunity in inviting many African countries to participate in the summit in Russia. As you can see, at a rival of Africans, they're very happy to meet Vladimir Putin. You can see the way they're greeting this person, the way they're interacting with him with a lot of pleasure. Very different from the usual condescending, we are the boss, you don't understand type of relationship they usually have or engagements they have with the West. We're going to watch what President Museveni of Uganda has to say, and we're going to make a comment right after. Let's go.
In order to understand the struggles we have been involved in, we should be reminded that by 1900, the whole of Africa had been colonized except for Ethiopia. This colonization followed 500 years of taking slaves from Africa and the devastation that criminal trade caused. It was not only Africa that was colonized, but also much of Asia, India, Indonesia, Indochina, Burma, the Philippines, Malaysia, etc., and the subjugation and extermination of the indigenous people of the Americas and Australia. However, these criminal acts by the imperialists, the slave trade and colonialism, provoked the colonized people into launching a resistance movement by some of the black people in the United States of America, in the persons of Du Bois and Pademont, who launched the Pan-African movement. The huge country of the Soviet Union was taken over by communists in 1917, and so was the huge country of China in 1949. Those communists were staunch anti-imperialists. Fourthly, our good fortune was that the greedy imperialists started fighting among themselves over us. I'm referring here to the so-called First and Second World Wars. In effect, these were inter-imperialist wars vying for domination of the world. In those wars, the imperialists weakened themselves to the advantage of the anti-colonial movement. That is how India, Pakistan, Indonesia, etc. got independence. Some of the imperialists tried to cling to colonies, but they were defeated in Algeria, Vietnam, Kenya, Mozambique, Angola, Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa. Fifthly, even within the imperialist countries, we had allies that were against the evil system. People like Fena Brockway, Dingo Foot, Olof Palme were with us and with our parents before us in opposing this evil system. It is these 5 factors that caused the defeat of the imperialism and restored our sovereignty to some extent. These are, again, the anti-colonial movement in Africa, Asia and Latin America, the rise of communism in the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, North Korea, etc., the two inter-imperialist wars of the last century that caused the weakening of the imperialist countries to our advantage, even when our parents were used as cannon fodder in those criminal wars, fighting the Japanese in Burma, the Italians in Ethiopia, the Germans in North Africa and Europe. Then fifth, the Pan-African movement launched by some of the black people in the United States of America, and the support by some fair-minded persons in the imperialist countries, persons, as I've already said, like Fena Brockway, Dingo Foot, all of Parliament, and others. We are therefore happy to be here in Russia, and we take this opportunity to thank the Soviet peoples and other socialist countries for that support.
So again, as you can see, very interesting. I'm going to stop you right there just very quickly. President Museveni showed the Russian that he knows history. Very intelligent person. He's narrating the history about Russia, on how the communists came, on how the Russians supported Africa, on how they were very much involved in the liberation of African nations at the time where the West were just busy trying to steal, rob, and take away from Africans. Very impressive. Look at the faces of the Russians on how they are impressed with the intelligence of this man. Very surprised. You can see they did not expect that from an African president. Knowing the history thoroughly with so much details. Very interesting. Let's watch.
We propose new areas, like for instance, the area of refinery and exploration of for petroleum products. We've got some little oil which we want to export as crude, but also refine for the East African market. Then we have got the pipeline to the ocean for the crude oil, in which we are involved with Total, the French company, and some Chinese companies, but Russian companies can also come in and invest in that East African crude pipeline, because it can pour the oil of not only Uganda, but even South Sudan and Congo, Kinshasa.
So again, as you can see, Uganda is looking for business. He's looking for fair business with Russia. Okay, he spoke here about the oil. Yeah, Uganda has discovered huge amount of oil in its land. Huge amount of oil that's ready to be exploited. For those of you who don't know, Ugandans were trying to exploit the oil from wherever it is to the international markets. But unfortunately, as they were trying to get partners to get these projects moving forward, they encountered many hurdles. Uganda had brought together some companies to try cooperate in order to find ways to export oil. Because Uganda is an enclaved country, it's not in the coast. Please put a map of Uganda so people can understand. And Africa, Uganda is inside country, it's in the continent. It doesn't have a coast or port where things could be exported to different lands. Therefore, Uganda needed to find a partner in Kenya or Tanzania in order to export its oil. Uganda found an agreement with Tanzania in order to export the oil to the international market, bringing together some companies to cooperate, to work together and get this going forward. Unfortunately, a few moments after, the European Parliament sat together and decided that the Ugandan project of exploiting oil was not good enough for them. They say it was going to destroy the land. They then say it was going to be dangerous to animals. Yes, that's what they say. It's going to be dangerous to animals, as if they care much more for animals than they care for human beings. Then they said it's going to push many people, many Ugandans out of their habitat, out of their villages.
Some have had their homes destroyed to facilitate the construction of access roads or the processing plant. Others have had all or part of their land requisitioned and have lost the free use of their properties and thus their means of subsistence without prior payment of fair and adequate compensation.
So they didn't say that this project could create jobs for these individuals. They didn't mention that there was an opportunity or possibility to create a better life for these villagers, but they're just worried about villagers losing their houses and worried about animals losing their houses. These are the parliaments of Europe. So they came together urging Uganda to stop its project of exploiting oil. How does this make sense? Europe and other countries have worked very hard for many, many years, exploiting oil and many other things, the industrialization, in order to grow their countries, in order to become big countries, in order to be productive and make a lot of money. Now that an African country is trying to do the same for its people, you don't like it? You want them to stop the project? Something's wrong here. When they did it and exploited oil with industrialization, there was no global warming issues. When Uganda's trying to do it for the Ugandan people, now there's global warming they should worry about. So the president said very clearly, because the West does not want to work with us in this project, clearly we're going to go to Russia. And that was the best decision he had made for his people. Now, during this summit, as you can hear, he said it very clearly. We want to cooperate with the oil project. We want to work together to build our countries. We want your intelligence and your expertise because Russia understands oil, so we can grow our people and move forward.
My proposal to our allies of Russia, India, China, etc., is to point out to them that they could help here by policy decisions to buy value-added products from Africa rather than raw materials.
President Museveni said very clearly, we don't just want Russia to come and take raw product. We want them to come and build, okay? To come and structure and refine in Uganda, then take the final product. Don't just come and take the raw product like most of the Europeans have done for many, many years. They just come in Africa, take raw product. And by doing that, they don't create any enterprises in Africa, any opportunity for Africans. They take everything. He said, now we want you to come, build refineries, refine, then take final product. By doing that, what is he doing? By doing that, he's giving an opportunity to Ugandans to get jobs. Opportunity to Ugandans to make the money and not just send away raw product and losing all of the market. Once again, props to President Museveni, who is doing a tremendous job for his people. As you can see, Africans in general are turning to one direction. Africans are tired of people meddling into their business. Africans are tired of being told what to do. Africans are tired of being forced to accept ways of life that don't necessarily belong to them. Africans are tired of being lectured, taught how to live. Therefore, they are now going to Russia looking for help and looking for equality. Africans are looking for respect. And once again, congratulations to all these African leaders that are just working very hard to do the best for Africans. Thank you very much, fellas. Please leave a comment. Let me know how you feel about this. Please don't go without leaving a comment. We need your comment so we can read you and understand. We need to grow together. It's not my show. Remember, if you have not joined us yet, please feel free to do so and leave your comment. We need your comment. God bless.